Hi everybody, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and today I want to send out a huge thank you to you guys, to my subscribers, because it just came to my attention that we just hit over 10,000 subscribers, which basically means if we continue on this trend, in a couple of weeks I'm going to be pretty much annihilating PewDiePie's record. So, sister fister that mofo. Of course. Yeah. No, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Today I want to talk about a little very overseen but extremely important quality that you want to not only possess, but possess in abundance if you want to be focused and ambitious and successful. And it actually has nothing to do with what's happening with this hand, okay? Get your mind out of the gutter. It has everything to do with what you're doing with everything else. Now, when I tell you what this is, when I get into detail about this is, you're actually going to start looking around at the community of YouTubers out there and other artists that you know about, and you're going to realize a very common trend. You're kind of going to go, huh, that's very interesting. I didn't even think about it that way. One of the things you learn about, if you start learning about health and how the body and the mind works, you start to realize that nothing works independently of anything else. Your brain is a part of a system. A system, your brain is as dependent on what you think, on what you shove straight into that brain, as what you put into your tummy, right? And yes, I use the word tummy because I've got 3 kids, right? What you put into your tummy, what you do with your body has a direct impact on what happens to your brain. And if you think that you can neglect your body and have a brain that works and functions the way you want to, you're dreaming. It's not going to happen. And even if you do, even if it does for now, it's not going to for long. Take it from a 41-year-old, okay? You learn very quickly when you start to learn about the body that the liver is not it's not like an iPhone. It's not an independent app that works uniquely of everything else. Everything is part of a big system. If you don't eat properly, that affects your hormones, it affects your endocrine system, it affects your digestive system. Like they say, you aren't what you eat, you are what you absorb. If you sit on your ass for 14 hours a day and you do that for a couple of years, this is putting pressure on your digestive system, which is affecting your absorption, which will affect your thyroid, which will affect everything else in your body, including your mind. So it's crucially important that you don't only address your health and be proactive with your health, but that you are very, very serious about it. That is something that you pursue with ambition, as much ambition as you do pursue your artistic career. Here's an example for you, and one that a lot of people don't even realize. If you think about artists out there, one always comes to mind. If you think about fantasy art, there's usually one name that comes to mind first, and that's Frank Frazetta, somebody who I've followed and I've admired and learned from a great deal through the course of my career. If you read up and learn a little bit more about Frank Frazetta, you'll learn that he was a very active, sporty guy. Not only that, he was the type of guy that if his kids walked into the room and said, "Dad, do you want to go play ball?" Even if he was in the middle of painting something, he would hang up his paintbrushes and he would run out the door and play ball with his kids. He always looked for an excuse to, number one, be a part of his family. So thumbs up to Frazetta for being a good dad. And another thumbs up to him for being somebody who was very, very physically active. He was not the type of guy who would spend, he wouldn't spend 70 hours a week sitting in front of his drawing table like that, or sitting in front of his canvas, because he would not have the same energy and focus and ambition if he neglected his body. It's that simple. Remember that your mind is a product of your body. If you don't take care of your body, your mind's going to suffer. If you don't take care of your mind, your body's going to suffer. So you have to be being a professional, being ambitious, being proactive, being focused is a full body practice. It's not just a practice of the mind. And it's amazing how many artists think that they can sit down for 14 hours a day and maintain that pace throughout the course of an entire career. Of course, if you try, I give you about maximum 5 to 10 years, and then your body's going to start kicking your ass. And then you're going to have to do something about it. All right? So this is what I mean by it. What I mean by being active is not just going to the gym and going through the motions. I did that for years. A lot of people who train, they kind of just go to the gym because, it's Monday and that's chest and buys day, so whatever. No. Go with a sense of goal. Go with a sense of ambition. You want to make achievements. You want to lose weight. You want to get stronger. You want to gain flexibility. You want to increase your cardiovascular system. You want to breathe better, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Go with a goal. Push yourself at the gym. When you go to the gym, spend an hour or two there. You know, invest yourself into it. That's where you're really going to see the most benefit. Why? Because you're not only getting yourself an increased health, you're also creating a mindset, a winner attitude, a winner mindset. So when you do sit down to draw, that same attitude translates into your artwork. Look around at other artists that you know. Look at Anthony Jones. Look at Noah Bradley. Look at Tyler Edlin. Look at Frank Frazetta. Okay? Look at these different artists. You're going to notice that all of these people are very physically active, very proactive in their physical lives. Most ambitious artists that I know are very physical people, but not only because they just understand that concept of mind and body, but because they understand that sitting on their ass all the time, they need something to compensate for the fact that they spend so many hours on their butt. Okay? So you're taking that attitude and you're translating it. I recently spoke about one of my students, Antonio Stepertz, who's one of those crazy ambitious guys that just, you know, he went from 0 to professional in 1 year. And the quality work he pulls out is amazing. He produces artwork every day, but that doesn't mean he spends 14 hours. No, he also posts videos on his Facebook page about him doing CrossFit training and powerlifting and, you know, scuba diving and all kinds of shit. He's a very physically active guy. You think if he was sitting down drawing all day, he would be able to record these videos? No, of course not. So it's a very good indication of the kind of physical activity that leads to productivity. Another one of my students does training for a circus and does all this kind of flexibility training. Okay, and again, she's somebody who's highly ambitious and highly productive and very artistic. But there's a side note to this. Okay, and the side note to this is, what if your health is already suffering? What if you're dealing with physical or medical issues that interfere with your ability to be physically active? Well, you might not know this about me, but a couple of years ago, I got quite a health scare. A health scare that to a certain degree still exists, but something that I really took charge of, and that's my thyroid. Okay? A couple of years ago, I'm not going to get into details about it, but if this is a healthy thyroid and this is an unhealthy thyroid, my thyroid, at least the test results I got, were about that. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not going to give you numbers because if you don't know about thyroid, it's not going to mean anything to you. But basically, my thyroid reading was incredibly high, like over 100 type of thing. And if you know anything about thyroid, you're going to go, what? Yeah. Now, disclaimer being, I'm not a doctor and I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing because that could kill you. But I read my body and I decided to do my own education. And luckily, I had somebody in my family who I have history of thyroid in the family, so I knew that I needed to, that I had that source of education. So there were certain things I knew that I could and couldn't do, and I knew to look up certain things. But I was immediately told by my doctors that I had to jump on Synthroid and take thyroid medicine. But I felt fine. My body felt fine regardless of my results. I tried one pill of Synthroid and it almost gave me a heart attack. After 48 hours, I said, cutting this off, I'm not touching it. And I didn't touch it. And instead, I took incredibly good care of my body. I educated myself. I learned about diet. I learned about natural healing and all this kind of stuff. Again, don't do this unless you know what you're doing because it could kill you. Okay, thyroid is not something to mess around with. But results my blood tests kept getting better and better and better. Oh yeah, not to mention I monitored myself like every 2 weeks as far as my thyroid is concerned. But my results kept getting better, until the point that they were optimal. My thyroid results are optimal now. And I went to my endocrinologist and she looked at the results and she said, well, it looks like the medication's working. I said, yeah, it does. Except there's only one thing. She said, what? I haven't been on medication. She went, what? Right? And I went, yeah, I haven't touched the medication. She goes, well, I've never heard of this before. And I said, yeah, my ass, you haven't. But it put me into the headspace that fuck this. I don't care if it's diabetes. I don't care if it's hypothyroid. I don't care if it's fibromyalgia. I don't care what it is. I'm going to own my own health. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to be like the Polish expression of I'm not going to be a hystericzka, you know, so, oh, no, poor little. No, fuck that. No. If I'm going to take charge of my body, if I'm going to deal with a hypothyroid, I want to know everything there is to know. I want to have medical grade knowledge of the thyroid. And I did. And you want to know anything about the thyroid, talk to me about it. All right. This isn't a medical channel, so don't take that as an invitation. At least nothing. I'm not a doctor, but that's what I'm talking about. Having taught hundreds of students at LUCIDPIXUL, we get to know each other extremely well. And I'd say a good 50 to 60% of my students are all dealing with some major medical issue, being diabetes, fibromyalgia, hypothyroid, you name it. I mean, the list goes on. But every goddamn one of them are people that own their shit. I mean, if you want to talk to them about anything, they know their stuff. They're in charge of their diet. They're in charge of their physical activity. If they have to sit on their ass, they sit on their ass, but they're active rest. I mean, these are people that really take charge of their mind and their body. And as such, I'm blessed to have some of the most incredibly kick-my-ass artists as students. You cannot achieve that if you're sitting on your ass doing nothing but drawing every day. Instead of investing 14 hours a day into drawing, invest, a few hours, 3 or 4 hours into drawing every day. But when you sit down to draw, you've been thinking about it while you're exercising, training, getting your vitamin D so you're sleeping properly, making sure that you're eating properly, paying attention to your diet to making sure you have a nice balanced diet. All of these things. So when you sit down to draw, you are ready and focused and ambitious, and there's no clutter. You've purged your mind of all of these distractions, and you sit down to get some real hardcore quality work. And I guarantee you, your health is going to improve, your life is going to improve, your self-respect is going to improve, your self-image is going to improve, and your art's going to improve. It's a win-win situation. So hopefully you enjoyed my art talk. Remember, I've got my LucidPIXUL art mentorship, which you can sign up. All the information's in the description below, and don't forget about the Brush Sauce Theater that we do about monthly with myself and Tyler Edlin. It's a free competition. It's not going to cost you a penny. You get free exposure and all that kind of stuff, and you get free professional critique by myself and Tyler on the channel. So it's a lot of fun and a huge community of artists and really inspiring themes. Tyler always comes up with a different theme for different artwork, and he's really gifted at themes because he always creates these really cool things for people to draw. So hopefully you enjoyed my art talk. Get yourself off your ass and go to the gym, and I will see you soon. Happy painting. Take care.